Hello, everybody. This is the OLM issue triage and working group meeting, and it is February 2nd. But today we're going to be discussing the distribution milestone that Daniel has codified as a series of GitHub issues. And then we'll review this operator framework enhancement issue as well. So with that, Daniel, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Alex. So like he said, what I've been doing past couple days has been I've been drawing up some issues in GitHub around developing our system for doing the distribution for OLM version 1. So this is it's a bit freeform, a little light on details. There's a couple reasons for that. First is this is something I'm a little bit newer to, and also it's something that I would definitely appreciate a lot of ideas and feedback on as we start working on this. But probably the best way to introduce this is just to give kind of a big overview of things. So OLM v1, as probably most of you know, just consists of several subcomponents. And what we want to do to kind of simplify this release process as much as possible is create a consistent release process for each subcomponent, and then combine those together basically into a single larger release process for OLM v1 as a whole. And to facilitate that, what I've basically proposed doing is kind of these 5 steps, and we'll go through each of them. So the first thing is to create our installation YAML for the operator controller. This isn't, so the background for this is that Ruckpack, another subcomponent of OLM v1, already has a pretty simple installation process where you basically download a single YAML file, which I have linked here. And this installs everything for Ruckpack on your cluster. It's pretty important to note, though, that it does not install dependencies. It's purely to install this subcomponent. And the same would apply for the operator controller. So this is the installation YAML for the operator controller. What I'd like to do basically is either use the same method of installation as we do for Ruckpack, or if not, if we find a better way to do that here, and then also to do that in Ruckpack. Either way, it should be consistent. That's, I think, the most important thing, apart from obviously the installation method being a good one. So yeah, I'm trying to think about what else to say on here. So this issue is hyper-focused on just the installation of operator controller. So again, it doesn't focus on installing dependencies or anything like that. If anybody has any ideas or feedback on this, this will be a great time to speak up. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rolling through these issues. So yeah, feel free to raise a hand or make a comment or speak up.
Seems good to me.
Cool. So I have the next issue linked in here. I also have it listed out here. So the next step in this process will be to create our installation method for all of OLM v1. So this will give us, so the main goal for this, let me start with that, is to install OLM v1 with a single command. So what I have provided here is an example from the Golang CLI lint installation. What they do here is they basically download this script and then run that in a new shell session, possibly with some arguments. None of this has been figured out, so this is just purely as an example. I'm not necessarily saying this is what it's going to look like. It's just one idea. But yeah, the main goals for this issue would be to install all of OLM v1, which at the moment consists of, actually I should have called this out in here, consists of the cert manager, RuckPack, and then operator controller in that order. If somehow I missed one, someone speak up. I think that's it. But yeah, so the method on this is still definitely up for debate, and definitely open to any ideas people have. Otherwise, if I end up taking this on, I'll probably go with a similar method as shown here. And I'm gonna just keep rolling right along unless somebody's got some thoughts here. So these two issues, unless we find some discovered work, should take care of the installation for both the operator controller and then all of OLM v1, given that Cert Manager and RuckPack are already kind of taken care of. We just have to fold those in to issue 110 there. So once we've finished that, I wanted to take care of the release process next. And there's a few issues I've created for this. So the first one is getting our infrastructure set up for this. We've had some talks amongst ourselves about basically creating a brand new repository to kind of keep all this information around installation and release information centralized to make it kind of easier to find things and also to keep it separate from OLM v0 stuff. This is also definitely up for debate. So other ideas we've floated have been doing things like creating another branch on the OLM v0 repository, doing this in the operator controller repository. There are definitely benefits and negatives to all those options. For instance, I believe Kevin brought up like creating this stuff in the v0 repository would potentially get some more eyes on it. But yeah, what we're kind of leaning towards at this point is doing a brand new repository. This is a, yeah, if someone has any thoughts on that, this is a good time to speak up. Otherwise, of course, the issues are just here if you want to leave a comment and leave your ideas that way. That's fine too. Otherwise, I'm gonna just keep moving on. I'll say a little bit more detail on this. So whatever we do end up creating, basically the intent of that is to have our single source of truth for release versions, and what kind of the idea I was thinking of was having a manifest inside there that maps each release version of OLM v1 to the appropriate versions of all subcomponents. So when we run that install script, if we, for instance, provide the larger OLM v1 version as an argument, then we can pretty easily just grab whichever tagged release of the subcomponent we need and install those. And then for this issue, so this is the next one. Once we've created that single source of truth, we want to basically codify the release process for OLM v1 and document that process inside the same location as we keep all of our releasing tools and manifests. This issue is very open-ended for good, I think obvious reasons, just to keep just trying not to be prescriptive on here or pre-buys, however we want to do it, since we haven't decided yet. The whole point of this issue is to decide how to do it. So that's why it's kind of open-ended here. And then finally, we're going to create our automation for this release process. So this could just be some GitHub actions to do this, but we want to make this process as simple as possible so that just about anyone can do it. We want to, I think, of course, one of our larger goals, I think, with this whole project is to make it as easy as possible for people to contribute. And I think this is a good way to do that, even though it's kind of a big thing. I think it's still important to keep that design language consistent throughout everything. So we'll make this release process as simple as possible through GitHub actions or other things. And this will allow us to cut our new releases. Let's see, what else do I want to say here? I know there are a lot more pieces of information we've kind of talked about in other circles, but I'm kind of coming up with a blanket right now for this. So if anyone else has other ideas they want to share here, this is a good time.
Thank you, Daniel.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you. I think you did a great job kind of outlining the immediate next steps for us to roll out a release process for the OLM v1 releases. I don't know if we've talked about this publicly, but we definitely want to cut a release for each milestone that we hit and making it easy to kind of promote the image. So I think the stuff that you proposed here will enable us to do that. So I'm excited to see this work get done.
Thanks, Alex. And let me also link this in here. It is in the agenda, but just to make sure everybody has access to it. So if you have any comments or ideas on missing work or maybe a good path for any of these issues or want to take them on yourself, yeah, please feel free to just head on in there and leave comments or do whatever.
Perfect. And okay, so I will take back over, Daniel, so you can stop sharing your screen.
Sure.
Okay. And I think we're just going to end a bit early today. They're just looking, I'll share my screen. So, can everybody see the OLM v1 project board?
Yep.
Okay, so just looking at this very quickly, I'm quite positive that most of this is already completed. We have the pipe constraints into solver to get a solution. We've basically kicked this Deputy 76 story out of the first milestone, and we're going to hard code it so I can go and update this to reflect that. We are already collecting entity ideas. We are marshaling things into a thing that we can install. We are creating the correct bundle deployment for each entity in the solution set. And then finally, I think this one is more or less done, but I just need to make sure that Deputy is being used behind a defined interface. And so I believe we'll be able to do the milestone 1 demo next week, which is pretty exciting. So what I'll do, and we don't have to do this all together, I'll update the state of this board and link relevant PRs that implemented them. I'll remove number 76, and then we can discuss who's going to implement and demo OLM v1 milestone 1. And we'll make sure that it's all cleaned up and ready for demo next week, where we'll close this one and we'll move to milestone 2, which will include not only the distribution tickets that Daniel just pointed out, but the DEPI improvements and the catalog source API updates that Onik has been working on. Does that sound good to everyone?
Sounds good to me.
Fantastic.
good.
Wonderful. On that note, we are done with everything we had on the agenda. Let me double check that. There was one enhancement that I saw on the agenda. Let's just take a quick look. Sorry, I didn't have the agenda open. So it's upper from get enhancement 1, 2, 3. Okay, so yeah, so this was just Daniel's top level enhancement ticket. So yep, we're all done. On that note, I'll let everybody go unless there's something someone wants to bring up before we adjourn for the day. Alrighty, on that note, I will let everyone go. Thank you again for being here today, and I look forward to the demo next week. Bye for now.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, everyone.